All right, this is Mr. Bauer, and in this section I want to introduce you to a form, an equation of something you're going to become very familiar with. We just talked about the concept of slope. Even before that, we talked about the concept of intercepts. Well, today I want to introduce you to something called slope-intercept form. All right? Slope-intercept form is an equation. Okay, here it is. It's an equation with a bunch of variables in it. Okay? It's got a y, it's got an m, it's got an x, and it's got a b. It's got equal signs, it's got plus signs. Okay? Now, most of the time when you write an equation, we leave the y's and the x's in there, don't we? And so it looks like the m and the b are going to be what we become very concerned about. Okay? Well, I also told you that m is a variable that represents what? That's right. M represents slope. Something you probably don't know is the b in this equation represents the y-intercept. Okay? The y-intercept. So here's what you need to know. If you come across an equation that looks like this, y equals 3x plus 2, you should be able to look at that and tell me what the slope is. Tell me what m is. 3. Yes. You should also be able to look at that and tell me what b is. Yeah, it's 2. So the slope is 3. The y-intercept is 2. So as we come to understand slope-intercept form, we can look at that and we can come up with a slope and a y-intercept. Now, slope-intercept form, the question is, how do I know if I'm in slope-intercept form? And here, let me give you another equation. Negative 2x plus y equals 5. Is this in slope-intercept form? And the answer is no. In order to be in slope-intercept form, you must get the y by itself. Here's the y. I want to get it by itself. What do I need to get rid of? Ding, 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 ding. How do you get rid of it? Well, it's a negative 2x, so add it. And then I am going to write the 2x first, and then the 5. If it was a negative 5, I would have written 2x minus 5. Okay? Now it's in slope-intercept form. Can you tell me what the slope is? 2. Can you tell me what the y-intercept is? 5. Very good. All right? So, if it's in slope-intercept form, very easy to see your m and your b. If it's not in slope-intercept form, solve for y, and it will be in slope-intercept form. All right? Okay. Well, the second objective is, then, if you've got something in slope-intercept form, you ought to be able to graph it. Okay? Look at this equation right here. Is it in slope-intercept form? No. The y is not by itself. We need to get rid of the 4x. How do we get rid of it? We subtract 4x. Okay? So y equals, and watch this, negative 4x plus 2. You might have been tempted to write 2 minus 4x. This is not wrong, but in slope-intercept form, I always like to have the x term first, and I don't care if this is negative or positive. I don't care if this is a fraction. I want the x first, because then I can tell you that the slope is negative 4, and that the b is, the y-intercept is 2. All right, well, now that you've got that information, let's use this to graph the equation. Okay, well, what's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is 2, but what is the y-intercept? What really is that? Isn't that where our line crosses the y-axis? Yeah. So let's put a point right at 2 on the y-axis. That is step number 1. Plot the y-intercept. Okay? Then look at your slope. If it's not a fraction already, make it one. And now we're going to use the idea of rise over run. Did you know you can make any whole number a fraction by putting it over 1? Yes. And so what that tells me about this line is that it rises -4 and runs 1, okay? Well, up 4 is, positive. -4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You see what I just did? I rose -4, I went down 4, right 1, there's my line. Even though it missed both points entirely, there's my line. It should just be over to the right a little bit. Okay? So if you will plot the y-intercept, and then from that point, not from the origin now, but from the y-intercept, do a rise over a run, you will have yourself a line. All right? Graph an equation using slope-intercept form. Make sure it's in slope-intercept form, plot the y-intercept, from there go rise over run, you're going to have yourself a line. All right? Okay. The last thing they want us to look at in this section is to identify some parallel lines. Well, what do we know about parallel lines? Do we know anything about parallel lines? Well, here it is, folks. The slopes of parallel lines are equal. Okay? So how do you know if two lines are parallel? You look at their slopes. Here's two equations. Y equals 3x plus 4, y equals 2x plus 5. Are these two lines parallel? No, they're not parallel. This one has a slope of 3, that one has a slope of 2. In order to be parallel, they have to have the same slope. So you can tell by looking at a graph, usually, but you're not supposed to go by that alone. What you're supposed to do is find the slopes of the lines you're looking at. If they're the same, they're parallel. If they aren't the same, they're not. Okay? It's that simple, folks. All right. Good luck here with slope-intercept form.